Okay, so let's finish this app using React now. So in the last part, we have finished the same app using Vue. So let's do it using React. So let's begin. So if you remember, I have already created a copy of the HTML and renamed it as index React. So I will open that. So that is where our HTML content is going to be for our React app. Now I will create another file which will be for where our React script is going to be. So let's call it scripts react.js. Okay, so this is where our React script is going to be, and this is our HTML. Perfect. So let's uh, now I also have the Vue script open. If we need any logic, we will use it. Okay, so otherwise we will not be needing this. So let's go to react.html. Now here, the first thing that we will want is to add React to our project, right? So let's go down and include React. Now, because this is a very simple project, we are going to include React using CDN. Okay, so I have already created a code snippet for this. So this code snippet is very simple. It includes React DOM and Babel, because we are going to use JSX in our script. So we have to include Babel over here. And then the script file where our code is going to be stored. Okay, so I think I have named it as scripts react.js. Okay, and this part is very important. Type text Babel, otherwise JSX will not be uh, handled properly. Okay, so that's it. I will save this, and let's now come to our React file. Okay, so let's add. So I have another uh, code snippet for React starter app. So this is again a simple um, React starter code. If you check out the docs of React, you will find this. So basically, it's a very simple. I am mounting the React DOM to this particular element, that is element with an ID of root. So that will be our first task, that we have to handle that. So we have to have an app which is have an ID of uh, root somewhere. Okay, so for that, the best thing would be, so first I will just hide this, and I will take this entire content and I will shift this inside another div and put it inside this. Okay, and that's it. And this div, I will give it an ID of root. That's it. Okay, so there you go. So now this is going to be my root. So this div is going to be my root, and everything inside is my actual app. Okay, so let's come over here. So this is where it is going to be mounted. And then I'm creating a class-based React component with a constructor. And just for testing, I have initialized the state with a count of 0. This is not what we are going to use, but just a dummy data. Okay, then this is important. This is a render function which is going to render the content. Okay, so right now it is just rendering hello world, so that we know whether it is working properly or not. Okay, and then I am actually rendering this particular class based app. Okay, so let's see whether this works or not. Let's open up our live server. Let's right click on the React and open it with live server, and there you go. So we have the hello world getting displayed. So this shows that our text or our React component is working properly. Okay, so that's it. So now we can start building. Okay, so first things first, let's take out the main code of our app. So that is the HTML part of our app. Let's let's first clean it up a little because we have lots of TRs over here. We don't need all those TRs. We will keep only two TRs, table rows, and remaining everything we will delete. Okay, so that it is actually not required. Okay, and then from this tr we actually need only this much, this class, nothing else is required. That I will copy and paste it over here. Okay, so that I can remove the last tr also. Okay, so this also we don't need. Okay, so now it is much more reduced. Now we can copy this HTML element. Okay, so this HTML element is going to go inside React instead of this. Okay, so let's paste it over here. And obviously directly if we copy and paste HTML over here, it doesn't work. There are few changes that we have to do. First of all the class should be substituted with class name. Okay, so let's first do that. Let's do that. Okay, so that is done. That is point number one for conversion of JSX. Second thing, any tags which are open but are not closed, like for example this input tag, you can see it is open but we have not closed it, so let's close that. Okay, so that is done. And I think, yeah, again now this t body, so this table body, so table body doesn't have a closing tag, so I think I deleted that anyway, so I will just add that. And I think that is it. So we have this this working. Now let's see if there is, I'm in a very zoomed in state, so just let me just reset. Okay, so this is how it looks. Okay, so now let me just increase the size. So now here the problem is, in our HTML we have that class of full. Okay, so this class, but we don't we have to shift this over there. Okay, so I will take it over here so that it gets reflected. Okay, cool. So now you can see it is now extending the full width. Okay, perfect. Now let's work on how to make this app working. Okay, right now it is just the UI part that is working, nothing else is working. So let me just resize this down. Okay, so now let's first open up the console and see if there is any error. Okay, so you can see there are some errors. That is because uh, when we replace the JSX, we had some SVG icons. Okay, so a few places we have these SVG icons, and in these icons there are these hyphens. So in any of the attributes, if there is any hyphen, that should be removed with camel case. Okay, so let's tackle that. So let's take this. I have multiple, so I can do line. That solves that issue. Still there is one more, stroke width. Okay, so that is reft, so I think that is this one. So let's handle this. Okay, so there are three such, so that's it. I think that should solve the problem. Yes. So now there are no more errors. So now our JSX is proper. Okay, so let me just zoom out a little. Okay, cool. So now our JSX is working. Now let's start implementing the app. Okay, so right now this doesn't work. So if I press enter, it doesn't work. So let's see how to get this working. Okay, so the first things first, let's create the required states. Okay, so the first things, we need somewhere where we store the current to do text. Okay, so let's call it to do underscore text. Okay, so that will be my first. Then I also need to do's. So the same to do's we will take. Okay, and perfect. So now I have a to-dos array in the state, and I also have to-dos text in the state. Okay, so the text is going to represent whatever is entered over here. Okay, cool. So now there are multiple ways in which we can do this. We can divide this into smaller components if required, or else we can do it all inside this single app itself. Okay, so we will see how to do it. Okay, so now the first things first, we want to have a we want to handle the add element over here. Okay, so we want to handle that. So let's work on that. So let's add a function. Let's say handle change function. Okay, and here the first thing that I do is e dot prevent default. Okay, so that if there is any default behavior of the form, then that should be avoided. Then I'm going to do text is equal to whatever is the current target value, that will be saved inside the state. Okay, so whenever it changes, we will get that. Okay, so this is handle change. So this particular function is going to work whenever this input element is changed. Okay, so let's work on that. So let's come down. So this is the uh, element. So let's give it a value equal to um, this dot state dot to do text. Okay, so that is going to reflect this. Next, I also want an on click, or so basically on change. So whenever this particular element is changed, I have to call this dot handle change. This function will be called. So whenever this element is called, this function will be targeted. Okay, and this will update the value of the to do text. Okay, so once that is done, next step is, so now this particular form may be submitted using this particular text box just by pressing the enter, or by pressing this plus button. Okay, so in any case it should be added to the to do's, right? So what we will do is, I will come over here and I will say on submit. So whenever the form is submitted, so I need to have a function which is going to be handle submit, and again I'm going to do the same thing, e dot prevent default, so that any sorry any default behavior should be handled, right? So next I will first get the to-dos. So let to-dos is equal to, so first I will get the to-dos from the state. Once I get the to-dos from the state, I will just do a push and I will add the text, the state, current state. Okay, and then I will say completed false, and then that's it. Okay, so that will be done. And now I should also put this back inside the state. Okay, so for that I will just take the to-dos and save it. That's it. Okay, and next I also want to uh, clear out if there is any to-dos inside to-do text that is entered into the text box, then that should also be cleared. Okay, so that's it. That will be my final handle submit form. Okay, so now this should be what it will be handled over here. So I will call this dot handle submit. Perfect. Okay, so now let's see if this works. Okay, so let's add something. Okay, it looks like it's working. So let's check out in our developer tools. So I will go to our React developer tool and let's wait for it. So this is the app. So inside the app you can see I have to-dos. So if I open this, you can see I have the new entry that I have created, SDFSS. So I just entered something. So let's enter one more and you can see the entries are getting updated. Perfect. Okay, so that is working. Obviously nothing is getting displayed over here because we have not yet written the code for that. Okay, so let's handle that now. So let's come down. So the adding part is working. Now let's work on the table part. Now for the table part, we can actually create a component for rendering the items, or we can simply loop through here itself and um, give the result. Okay, so it is completely up to us, uh, but I think we can we can loop through it. That will be, sorry, we can create a separate component. That way it will be much more cleaner approach. Okay, so let's create that component. So let's call it to do item. Okay, so let's call it to do item, which is going to accept a to do. Okay, and it is going to return a to do from here. Okay, so let's take the code for to do from here. Okay, and let's come up over here and paste it over here. Cool. So now, so that is going to be our to do. So whenever a to do is the to do comes over here, to do should have a to do as well as an index. So I need two things for this to do. So the to do and the index. So index I will take from here and I will say index and +1 because it is index starts from 0. So whatever is the index, I will add 1 to it. That will be the index, and then this will be to do dot text. That will give me the text. Okay, that's it. So this is what I want. So let's save that, and now I want to render this. So let's come down, and over here I will just say to do item with to do. Okay, now obviously I have to map this through and generate a to do, multiple to dos, right? So for that, what I can do is I can just say to dos map to do an index from here, and then I'm going to do just return, and that's it. There is I have to close the map function. That's the okay. Anyway, so that is done now. That Let me just zoom out a little. I'm zoomed in too much. Okay, so there you go. So I have now the to do items getting displayed. Perfect. So now what next? So now I have the items, and I'm in fact I am also getting the elements getting displayed, right? Now let's look at how it is rendering the contents. Okay, so now right now the classes that is getting displayed is displayed statically. Okay, so whatever is getting displayed is getting displayed statically. So I want to display when it is completed, I want to display one part, and when it is not completed, it is when it is pending, I want to display the other part. Okay, so let's see how to handle that. Okay, so this is the style that should be applied when it is completed, and the remaining style is to be applied when it is not completed. Okay, so let's tackle that. So let's copy this from here. Let's remove the entire style from here, and then I will, instead of double quotes, I will put curly braces, and then inside template literals I will start with this text. Okay, and here the first thing first, so whichever is common I will put it in the beginning. Okay, then I will have a um, I will have dot completed. If to do is completed, so I will check. If it is completed, then I will do this. Else, obviously, this should be inside quotes. Okay, and then the odd one. So this odd one comes after this inside quotes. Perfect. So now let us see. So now this works. So you can see now if it is selected, then this part is selected. If it is completed, then this part is this style is applied, and if it is not, then the odd and even styles are applied. Cool. So now once that is done, let's see how to handle the completion of this task. Okay, so now again there is one issue is the buttons. We can see the buttons are getting displayed, so I don't want both the buttons to be displayed. So whenever it is already completed, I don't want to show the first button, that is completed, complete the task button, because it is already completed, right? So let's add a condition over here. So if to do completed, then um, then this task, whatever is this, else I will just say null. Okay, so if it is completed, then this. If it is uh, oh sorry, if it is not completed, then this, else null. Okay, so this will not be shown. Okay, we can do this in this way also. We can take this button from here, and instead of this we can say and here we can put this code, so that whenever to do is not completed, this button will be shown, and whenever to do is completed, this button will be shown. Perfect. Let's save it. And now you see we get this button or the cross button or the check button. Any one of them will be shown. Perfect. Now the last part is how to make these buttons working. Right now the buttons are not working, so if I click on these buttons, nothing actually happens. Okay, so it doesn't get marked as completed. So for that, now we have to work on the buttons first. Okay, so let's work on the button. So let's create a button. So handle toggle. So this is the handle toggle button, and here we are going to just say first get the to-dos from the state, then we will take the exact to-do and mark that that particular element as what do you say, completed, or just toggle the state and then save it. Okay, that's it. Save the state again using set state. So this is going to be our handle toggle function. Now this handle toggle is defined in the app uh, class, right? So that needs to be passed to the to do item. So let's come over here and add a key called handle toggle, and I will say if that happens, then this is how it should be handled. Okay, now this is received by this particular item, so we have to get that, get handle toggle over here, and here I will, now I have access to this particular function handle toggle. Now let's come back over here and let's say when I click this button, I want to run this function. So for that, I will say on click. Okay, and I will run this function. Now, if I run this like this, I cannot pass the what do you say, the index. Okay, so I want to pass the index. So for that, I will pass it using arrow function. Okay, so I will pass it using arrow function. And here I will run this function handle toggle, where I will pass, I think only index is fine. Okay, so I will pass the index. That's it. Perfect. So now this will pass the index. Now let's take this code, and the same code will be pasted over here as well. Okay, that's it. So let's see if this works. So if I run this, and there you go. So now our code is working. Okay, so our toggle part is working. So similarly, we also want to have a delete or option. Okay, so let's call it handle remove. Okay, the same thing applies. So I will get the state to do's from the state, and I will remove the to do based on the index, and I will repopulate the state again. Okay, that's it. Now the same process will continue. I will go to my to do item, pass this function in, and this dot handle remove, and this handle remove will be received by the to do item handle remove, and this now can be called by the button. Okay, so I can say on click, I will say, now again I have to pass the index, so I cannot run the function directly. I have to run it using a arrow function. Okay, so there you go. Now I have this. Let's see if that works. If I remove, yes, that gets deleted. Perfect. Okay, so that is that. Now the remaining part, let's quickly implement the remaining part. Now now here itself we can do actually a check whether um, we whether we need whether there is any to dos or not. So right now, if there are no to dos, we cannot see anything that is getting displayed, right? So let's do one thing. Let's first check. uh, Wait, we will do it over here. So let's first add a tr, then let's add a td. Okay, and we will also do call span, call span of 3. Okay, so let's see. So I have done this, and let's call it no to dos. Okay, so this is going to be my to dos. Now obviously, we need to have the same classes over here so that it looks same. So text, I think it was orange 500 or 600, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so text 600, so that gives us that. And also we need a background color, so bg, let's call it orange 100. Okay, so that gives me this color, and I want rounded XL, but only bottom. Okay, that's it. So now this is going to be my row when there is no to dos, right? But this should not be rendered every time, right? So let's run a simple if statement. So um, this dot state dot to dos dot length. Okay, so let's get the length. If it is um, less than equal to 0, okay, so if it is this, then what to do, right? So if it is this, then I'm going to do this. Okay, that is tr, and I think that's it. Okay, and otherwise I'm just going to do null. So there you go. Now if I delete this, no to dos left. Perfect. So now you see, if I don't have any to dos, I get the message no to dos left, please add some. Okay, good. So now that is out of the way. Now the only thing left is this status. Okay, so this status needs to be updated based on how many to dos are pending, right? So that is going to be very simple. We can have a property. So let's see how we can handle this. So let's call this get to do stats. Okay, so this is going to be our function, and this is going to take the to dos, and I'm going to find out how many are remaining and how many are completed, and then I'm just going to return some text. Okay, so and that's it. Now this text, when I'm returning this, this should be returned like this. So let's copy this text from here and put it over here. So I want two to dos. So remaining, so these many are remaining, and and these are completed. Okay, so this is going to be returned. Okay, so that is my status. Now let's come over here. Where is the status? Yeah, it is over here. And over here, I'm just going to say call this function and sorry, the function with the brackets. I forgot to add this. Okay, so there you go. So now I've called the function, and if I mark the particular to do, then that is getting updated. Cool. Okay, so perfect. If I remove this, that is also getting updated. Let's add a few, and there you go. So we have 5 to dos pending and 1 completed. Cool. So I think that is it. So this is going to be our final app. Let's give it a final refresh. Okay, so this is our final app. So let's add a few more entries. Hello React by React. Okay, so I have added few more entries. I can mark them complete, and once it is marked complete, I can also delete them. Okay, perfect. So that is done. Now, as a bonus, we have completed the app. Now, as a bonus part, we can do a little more thing about this. So let's do one more thing before we finish this video. So right now you see there is this delete button which is used to delete the particular to do. We want to also add a feature where the user can double click on any of the items, and the to do is deleted. Okay, so let's see how to handle that. Now that is very um, good trick in React. So we can do it in both Vue and React. First, let us finish this React part. So let's come down, and if you see, I have this event that is sorry, have this button, the delete button. So this is the delete button, which is actually removing the that particular task. So what we are going to do is we are going to add an event listener on this TR, the entire TR. We are going to add an event listener, which is going to work only if there is a double click. Okay, it will not work on single clicks. Okay, so let's see how to handle that. First, let us define that function. Let's come over here and let's say handle remove, right? So let's create, duplicate this, and let's call it handle double click remove. Okay, so this is going to be the function. So handle double click remove. So this is going to be very simple. I'm going but this will require an event also along with this. Okay, so this will require an event also. So it will require an event and an index. So let's see how to handle double clicks. So first of all, I don't want to check the I don't want to worry about the prevent defaults, but I want to do this. If e detail is equal to 2. Okay, so if this detail is equal to 2, then I'm just going to do handle remove. Okay, so if 2 is basically, detail is basically saying how many times the things are clicked. Okay, so I'm just saying that if it is double clicked, then run this command handle remove, okay, with this index. Perfect. So now I just have to pass this function also to the to do item. So let's add that to our to do item, this dot handle double click. Let's go to the top, accept that, and here I will add on click. I will just say, now again here I have to pass two things, so I cannot do it directly, I have to do it through arrow function. So let's do this, and I'm going to run the handle click by remove. The first one will be e, and the second parameter is going to be index. Perfect. So now let us see whether this on click event works. Okay, so let's see. If I double click, that removes the element. Perfect. Yeah, so that works. Now only thing is, there is a slight confusion as to whenever I double click, there is a selection happening, right? So I can add a class over here which is select none. By this class of tailwind, you can now you cannot select that particular element when you double click. Okay, so if I double click, you can see that selection is gone now. Okay, if you want that feature, you can do that. Okay, so that's it. So that is done, and now you can just add some text and test it out. And yeah, so that works. Cool. So that is it for the to do app using React. So that finishes with the to do app. I hope you all enjoyed the this uh, version of the to do app, that we have built using Vue.js and React. Thank you everyone. See you in the next video.